Hello.
How are we?
A bit weird this week.
Really?
Well, Debbie's got something that's happened to her, and I've got something that's happened to me.
Let's start with you.
Okay. I have this massive sty on my eye. I've never had one before, and it's enormous. So the only thing I could think of to do today is put a bit of pink eyeshadow on the other side to try and match them up. But I've got this Quasimodo eye. Anyway, over to you,
darling.
Debbie. What's happened to you?
Pink eyeshadow is in.
Nothing.
Oh, darling. What happened?
See?
How attractive. And
Yes.
the weird thing is my tongue keeps getting stuck.
Oh,
What happened?
I was eating a piece of toast.
oh my God.
That was it.
I'm never eating toast again.
No,
Yeah,
I know, and it happened yesterday actually, and it's
Yeah.
horrible. And I've got to yes, well, I've got things going on, so I've got to go to the dentist this afternoon, and so I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to do the show. I won't tell the Corgis. I won't. They
You
must.
know what I love
so-
about you, Debbie,
Huh?
Arnold? I said, what I love about you is you are so stupendously, gorgeously beautiful, and we love you so much. But the fact that you'll come out here and go, this is what's happened. And
I know.
people would say, I'm not going on, but
Yes, other
you're
people would be
amazing.
hiding it or have a mask or something.
Well, there's not a lot I can do, and it would have looked worse. So I'm not going to tell the Corgis. I wonder if they'll notice.
The Corgis!
The Corgis!
Corgis!
Oh,
Hello!
Hello. Hi, how you doing?
How very exciting to meet the legendary Korgis.
Nice to meet you.
why are you called the Corgis?
Who's going to answer that one?
Jim Warren
You,
is
because
gonna
you
answer
probably
that.
made it
I'll
up in the
answer
first place. Yes. Well, you see, we were trying to think of a name. This is going back to 1978, don't forget. And we had a list of about 50 names. And I don't know for what reason, but in the end, we thought it would be sort of rather kitsch to have a name like the Corgis, because we were thinking of the Queen's dogs at the time. We thought that would be typically British and typically kitsch. So we thought Corgis, yeah, why not? And also it's one word, so people haven't got to remember a long, complicated name. And in 1978, we thought that sounded like a good idea. And also we thought, let's spell it with a K, because not many bands have a first letter of K as their name. Only like Cool and the Gang and Kraftwerk. So we thought we would...
And the Kinks.
And the Kinks. I love the Kinks. Yeah, of course, the Kinks as well. But anyway, we thought K was a more cool letter than C. So there we are.
It's a very cool letter spelt Kool.
Ah.
And the
of
gang.
course it's continued through our career. We've often changed C's to K. So we did an album a few years ago called Cartoon World, but we changed, of course, the C to a K for cartoon.
And we did cool hits, curiosities, and collaborations, all with Ks.
All with Ks, yes.
So my daughter is called Kira, but she was going to be called Kira with a K until I got some flowers at the hospital when it was Kira with a C. So I changed it to C.
Oh,
she could be in the band.
Complicated.
How funny. So guys, we know your biggest hits, but is it your 45th anniversary?
Coming up next year is 45 years since Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime. So this year would have been 45 years since the very first hit, If I Had You. So yeah, we're out there celebrating it at the moment.
Wow. And
still sends a tingle. I played it several times in the last 24 hours, and it just I don't know what I was doing, but something obviously very romantic, but it sends this tingles up my spine when I hear it.
Leslie, it's the wrong show.
No, but something I'm trying to think, where was I when there must have been something, you know how you associate music with times, but I just remember being very, very happy and content, and hearing that beautiful song just makes me tingle, and I don't know. Lovely. I've got to delve into my memory to find out.
Were you married then, dear?
No, of course not.
Of course not. Yeah.
It probably takes you back to the last dance in a club on a Friday night or a Saturday night. You know, that awful time that we had to go through on at 5 to 2 in the morning or something when the Last Dance came on and Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime came on. I'm sure that's probably what it was.
Probably was.
And you
still
talked
to the guy. You'd had your eye on him all night long, and it didn't happen, and it was going home time in a minute.
Or even worse, if you're the guy and you go over, you do the long walk across the dance floor, and then she says no.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I think you boys are much more sensitive than us girls.
Well, perhaps that's why I wrote the song. Everybody's got to learn sometime. For all those times I went over to the girl and she said, "No thanks."
Oh.
Everybody's got to learn sometime.
How did you all meet?
Well, Johnny Baker, that chap there, I've known him since, what was it, 1977, 1970?
78, I think, probably.
78, yeah, because we were doing the Korgis thing and recording in Bath, where we lived at the time, and John was in another band who also came to record at the same studio. So we met and got to know each other. But John was part of a thing which became much more famous than the Korgis. John, tell your story.
Yeah, so I went to school with a guy called Roland Orzabal, and if you remember, of course, he's part of Tears for Fears these days. So my very first band was called Graduate, and we signed a record deal in about 1979, and that's the band that Jim's talking about there. That we used to use the same studio as the Korgis, and me and Roland Orzabal and Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears were in that band, and that's how we got to know James.
And they poached you.
Well, sort of. Graduate did its own, as bands do, you know, when you're young and when you're silly and all that, you split up and you have, you know, fallings out and things like that. And Graduate only lasted one album and then split up. And I was looking for something to do, and James approached me and said, "Look, you know, Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime is becoming this really big song. Why don't you come and join? We've got loads of promotion to do." And that was it. The story started there for me.
And Al, what about you?
Much later, because I'm far younger. Not really, actually. But in the 90s, there was an album called This World's for Everyone, a Korgis album. And there was a few dates going around, and they were short of a guitarist. So they brought me in at the time. That only lasted, we only did a little bit for it. We did a bit of promotion for the gigs. But then we got back together and properly relaunched the live band in about 2017. So I was a bit more of an integral part of that.
Brilliant.
Wow. So you've been gigging on and off all the time over the last 45 years?
Well, not as much as we should have. Isn't that right, John?
Well, I'll let you answer this one, but yeah, we'd like to say yes to that, because it's actually a big sort of it's probably a big regret of ours. I'll let James carry on with that one.
Yeah, because when we first did the Korgis, we thought the Buggles. Remember the band, the Buggles?
Yes.
The radio star? We thought they've got a great idea, because they're insisting on just being a studio band. They said, no, we're not going to go out and tour. We're just going to make records and make videos. And that's where it's at. And we thought, wow, that's a great idea, actually, because my original partner in the Korgis and I had both been gigging constantly for about 7 years. And so, you know, when we started doing the Korgis, and we heard what the Buggles have said, we thought, yeah, why don't we do that? Let's just be a studio band. And that's what we did. So we didn't go out and promote our records in a live situation. Consequently, people didn't know who we were. We didn't have any kind of profile. And really, that was a big mistake. And so bands from the 1980s that were always gigging right from their first hit onwards, that they've sort of managed to keep going today with a you know, quite a big sort of fan base that always comes out to their gigs. But we didn't have that. We didn't have that constant sort of, you know, flow of live performances all the way from the 80s to the present. So that was
trying to make up for it now, though.
We're making up for it now, yeah. But it was a mistake.
But the thing is, you know, if you look at Mick Jagger, I mean, do you think that he ever thought in a million years he'd still be doing it when he was in his 80s?
Probably not.
He said he wouldn't. He said, we can't be doing this one at 30.
Yeah, exactly. He did, didn't he? In an interview. Because nowadays, this is how you make money, isn't it? Touring. It's not through recording anymore.
And it wasn't then. It was definitely recording and not touring. And now it's gone the other way.
Sold. Yeah.
And you sell merchandise on tour?
We do, yeah.
Brilliant.
Al's in charge of our merchandise. Tell them, Al. We do very well.
We got loads of CDs. I mean, in the last 5 years, we've released 5 albums, haven't we? 3 of them have been completely new stuff, new original stuff. And so we're really pleased that the audience have really taken to that. So we sell more of the new stuff than we do of the old stuff, which is very nice, really.
What were you going to say, Nat?
Yeah, no, I'm just going to say that kind of the younger generation, I know my kids who are early 30s, they've always listened to sort of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s was when they were kind of growing up with it, I suppose. But they've always listened to older music because there are such lovely tunes, aren't there? And storytelling, which I can't hear it now. But they love listening to older music.
Yeah, same with my kids.
We do get
Springsteen, Joni Mitchell, kind of all of those people, Genesis even, you know, all
but we didn't have that because when we were growing up, our generation, you know, our parents' music to us was really old-fashioned.
Yeah, it was.
Whole different thing.
Genesis on tour. Did you also? Oh my God, I went so many times to see Genesis on tour. It was the most wonderful, exhilarating experience ever because
nothing compared with David Bowie, I'm afraid.
Oh well, he was brilliant too, and I did that as well. I was really lucky. I had an older brother who was in a band, or he had his own band, which was lovely because he was the boss. But he took me everywhere to see everybody, and I was about 6 years younger. But what a lovely place to be, a younger sister of a rock star. Well, he wasn't a rock star.
We did have some amazing music, didn't we? You know, in the from the 60s onwards. You know, Britain was a musical, you know, jukebox, really, wasn't it? It was just producing fantastic bands, artists, and you know, and I think what you said just now is important. I think young people today, my daughter, for instance, she knows all of the songs that we grew up with, as well as loving all the stuff of today. But she knows all those classic songs, and I think it's really important that music, you know, passes through these generations like that.
I like that. Musical jukebox was great. That's a great terminology. So who does all the writing?
Oh, me. I write everything.
We all do.
I mean, they do.
Don't know why we bother, Al.
Completely untrue. These days, Mr. Al Steele is fantastically creative and comes up with, I would say, most of the original ideas for our new songs. I help out a bit, John helps out a bit, and then Al writes all these fantastic lyrics. So, I mean, Al has his own studio as well near Cardiff in Caerphilly.
Where we are.
So he's constantly, that's where he is now. So, which is where we record.
So are you touring now? Can we come and see you?
Of course you can. The coffee is always on. You can come in and have a cup of coffee anytime.
Oh yes. So where are you touring
Korgis
now?
cup.
So our next
shows. Yeah, it's 2025 now, is it? We get going.
Yeah, 25. Yeah. So we're playing in Cardiff on the 25th of January.
Oh yeah.
And then we're playing in Rayleigh in Essex. I think in
February. London. Yeah, 25th is it?
8th of Feb.
It's all on the Korgis.com anyway. They're all there.
All over the place. Yeah.
Korgis.com.
Korgis.com with a K.
With a K. Fabulous. So are you going to be touring all next year?
Yeah.
I do hope so. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. There's about 10 dates in so far, and there's more just coming in all the time. So
So do you play with, I mean, are you sort of connected with the other bands of the 80s? Do you play with them, or is it just you guys on your own?
Well, I think we've tried to do a couple of double bills, haven't we? We talked to the Christians about doing a double bill. We talked to a few other people about it. It's in the pipeline. We would love to actually do some more multiple bill things, you know.
What's your accent, Al?
Oh, Australia originally. And I've been here since 1971, but I still haven't acclimatized yet.
Absolutely. So what are your best memories of creating your hits in the 80s?
Oh, gosh. Well,
Did you did Top of the Pops, obviously?
We did, yes.
Yes.
But there's a funny thing with we went on Top of the Pops for our first hit, If I Had You, a couple of times, 2 or 3 times maybe. And then Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime came out and started to go up the charts. But then when it got to a sort of the pole position, it got to number 5 in the UK, and we were due to appear on Top of the Pops the following week. And in those days, if you're on Top of the Pops and you were sort of close to the top, you know, that sort of appearance then would sort of ensure that you really got up to right like first or second place. But then would you believe that there was a strike, and the week that we were meant to be on Top of the Pops, and so it was never shown.
It's the only time. It's the only time, I think, in the whole Top of the Pops history. It was off there for 6 months.
Yeah,
and it was 1980, believe it or not, and it was the Musicians Union that was striking about pay for you know what the BBC were paying the musicians, etc. And it went on for 6 months. That was the only time in all that time of Top of the Pops that it was off air.
I mean, it was such an iconic show. It's such a shame it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great.
Yeah.
I remember the big cameras.
Yeah.
Lying around the floor, you know.
Yeah, that's reminded me, Al and John, of the Mike Reed show that we do.
Yeah, so Mike Reed, the Radio 1 DJ, does a heritage chart show, which is trying to kind of recreate the Top of the Pops vibe.
Yeah,
which looks very similar. It's nice that
Yeah.
you know, someone's
Where
out
is it
there.
on? I haven't seen it. I'd love it.
Yeah, he has his own channel, doesn't he? The Heritage Chart Show.
Yeah.
It does, and it goes out on one of the TV channels as well, doesn't it?
Is it?
So it's on the internet,
Yeah,
but it goes out on a TV channel.
It's wherever the local channels are for the local areas. It's on them. They're called different things in every area, but it's international as well because it's online too. So I think we've had a number 1 there, 2 or 3 times, and you get to be on a billboard going into LA, which says the Korgis are number 1. So that's nice.
So does he actually shoot in different parts of the country then?
No,
we've been to Brighton quite a lot, haven't we?
He used to have a place in Brighton where he did a lot of the shooting in an old pub and that sort of stuff. But that Isha show was a specific Heritage Chart 4-year anniversary show, I think, and he did 2 days of filming and then put this show together, which I believe he's trying to sell to National as well. So yeah, look out for that. It's a good little show. It does look very sort of similar to Top of the Pops with the audience there, you know, crowding around the bands, etc.
Yeah,
and a few old faces, you know. So, you know, apart from people like us, very old faces. Lots of people that you'd recognise on there. People like Bucks Fizz and Peter.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I used to love going up there when I was a kid. I really did, because my mother and my stepfather managed loads of bands in the 60s and 70s. So I was always there, you know, from the age of 11, even though I wasn't supposed to be there.
You are so lucky. I wish I'd been your best friend. I was such a teen hopper. Oh my God.
It was wonderful. But you know, you just, I mean, they were there in person. And I remember the biggest shock I got was Roger Daltrey, because I was taller than him and I was 12.
Wow.
He looked so tall, didn't he?
And there he was. Oh, yeah.
That is a shock.
How amazing.
You're really short. Oh, I wasn't that tall, I don't think.
Do you tour Europe a lot?
We do TV bits and pieces, don't we, in Europe, rather than perform live.
We've got a bit more coming up. Well, we've got a few dates in France, and there's one Luxembourg or something next year. We'd love to do more. I mean, Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime was number 1 in France. I mean, Paris is actually our top city in the world. For plays and sales and stuff. So
I read that, and also the States.
South America more. There was a huge hit in South America because of a soap, a daily soap that was on. It was only on for about a year and a half, but they played a song called "Don't Look Back" like every show, and so that song over in South America, they go, play Don't Look Back. Don't Look Back's our favorite. And we go, what about Everybody's Got to Learn Sometime? We go, yeah, we like that one, but Don't Look Back.
I know.
What was the inspiration for that particular song?
Everybody's Got to Learn. I mean, well, now there we go. So people, I think, naturally think it's like a one-to-one romantic love song, and you can look at it on that level. But funnily enough, I didn't write it from that point of view. At the time, I was very into sort of going to like meditation groups, like Buddhist meditation groups, and the lyrics for the song came out of, you know, going to those kind of groups, like, you know, we should change our heart, the way we look at the world, change our hearts, you know, look around us and see the world with new eyes, you know, like meditation, all that sort of stuff. So that's where it came from, in fact. But and everybody's got to learn sometime. For me, at that time, meant we've all got to learn how to sort of look at relationships and the world in a different way, you know, in a sort of more.
It's so interesting, isn't it? How we see stuff, or you know, songs are to us, how they different things. And I think the one that always sticks out for me is from Chorus Line, What I Did for Love, because people think that's a love song between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And it's a love song about the entertainment industry.
Ah, right.
It's,
yeah. There you go.
You'd give up everything to be in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Or as my mother used to say, there's no business like no business.
But it's good to have lyrics that can be interpreted on different levels, I think, isn't it? So I'm all for that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong in sometimes interpreting a song in the way you want to interpret it, because it means something to you. It might not be what the writer had in mind originally, but if it means something to you, then that's important, isn't it?
And we have so many comments, don't we? We have so many comments, especially on YouTube, on Facebook, and people going, I remember where I was when that song was out, or I remember what I was doing, I remember who I was with, I remember being on holiday at the time, I remember that. It is one of those, when you say there was something, Natalie, you said there was something.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly,
Al,
I'm
do
thinking,
you know what,
who
Al?
was that?
You have made a perfect segue to the end of our show, because we'll go back to Natalie feeling tingly.
No, I'm going to have to have to go and do some hypnosis regression to find out who was I with and what was going on.
What were you doing?
That song.
And what is in your bedside drawer?
I'm not telling you that.
Sorry.
Probably
Should we
signed
go in
pictures
there?
of
What
Korgis,
photograph do you mean?
It always ends up smutty.
only with Debbie Arnold. Oh, we've got to come and see you.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Please
Where are
do.
you next?
Yeah.
Please do.
Cardiff in January.
We will look on your website and we'll come and see you next year when you're nearer to Isha, because that's where we are.
Ah, right.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys. And
Thank
you so
before
much.
you go, who's married to Elaine?
Oh, none of
None of
us.
us.
None of us. It's our drummer, Paul,
Okay.
who was with me later today.
Okay.
He didn't
We leave the
even
cameras
want
running.
to
Give them my
turn
love.
up.
Give them my love.
Yeah, he
All
didn't
right,
even want to turn up today. I don't know.
Oh,
It's because
great
she's
to
jealous,
meet
you see.
Lots
Huge
of love, guys.
your tour and everything. Absolutely
Thank
lovely
you.
to meet you.
Oh,
Come and see
thank
us.
you.
We
Thank
will.
you.
Definitely.
Look forward to it.
Thank you
so
so much.
Bye for now.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Did you
lovely.
noticed?
No.
No?
I never noticed. In fact, I forgot all about it. What did you see, Nat?
I wasn't looking at Debbie's tooth. I was looking at those delicious gentlemen on the screen.
Honestly,
know.
do you feel tingly when you see?
Yes. Tingly, tingly.
I just
thought-
love people who are rock and rollers all the way through, and they just, everybody who is still there. I just think it's brilliant. Still
it?
making music, and it's so good.
they're lovely, lovely, aren't they?
Lovely.
Well, I suppose it's time to go. I've got to go to the dentist, and you've got to go and get your eyes seen. Have you got some stuff to put on it?
Oh, I've been doing what you said, rubbing a gold ring on it.
You know, that
And,
apparently does work. Has
and
it-
hot compresses, but it's just weird. Where's it come from?
Yeah.
You're tired, working
Yes.
so hard,
I'm very wide awake, actually.
but we will see you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.